You guys obviously talk about the second go-around with this. How'd you think everything went tonight?
We thought it went great. You know, everybody came out to fight. Out of 12 fights, there was maybe 2 fights that we would have loved to see a little bit more action. But listen, that's going to happen. And all in all, I thought the night went good.
Look, I think if you look at what happened in New York and you look at what happened tonight, clearly all the fighters are coming out and they're understanding that they got to put some points on the scoreboard to get into the playoffs. There was very few fights, you know, went to a decision. Even a couple of fights, there were some massive reversals to a finish. And you see the buzz, and you even see the fighters talking about the points that they're getting, because if you don't get the points, you don't make the playoffs. If you don't make the playoffs, you don't have a chance to win $1 million.
And become world champion.
And every single one of them wants to win $1 million and thinks they're going to win $1 million of these 72 fighters. So I think we saw a continuation of that tonight in Chicago. I thought it was a great night.
Got to obviously ask about the Jason High situation. He was not happy with the stoppage. He put his hands on a referee for the second time in his career. He tossed some chairs around. I mean, have you guys talked at all about what's going to go on with him?
Listen, you know, that was unfortunate, and out of, you know, spur of the moment, he reacted the way he did. And every fighter, listen, like Carlos said, every fighter is looking to earn points, to get to the playoffs, to get to the championship and $1 million. That being said, you know, we actually have had to talk to him as well. We as the league are not going to tolerate that kind of behavior. But at the same time, you know, he apologized, and we also had the referee as well as the commission view the video, and the referee again came out with the same result of what he saw in the cage and what he saw on tape. So, you know, unfortunately, these are guys who are coming out and really want to earn, you know, the points and earn the fights to get to the playoffs. And then when something like that happens, you know, obviously he was disappointed, but sometimes, you know, unfortunately, these are kind of things that comes with the spur of the moment. And after Carlos and I spoke to him, you know, again, he was sorry, but, you know, it's one of these things where the fighters are really going in and putting their heart and soul on the line.
So we'll see him again in 6 weeks or whatever. He'll have a second fight.
Correct.
That's right. Look, I mean, we've all been in sports, whether it's been something you've done as a kid all the way up to these guys that are at the highest level, and the referees are in the same boat. They're professionals. They're doing everything to keep the fighters safe. That's their job. They reviewed the videotape, as Ray said. We brought him back in the truck, and the referee took a look at it, and he saw a tap, which was what he saw. So Jason was clearly upset, but I think he came around.
Right.
And we abide by the commission and the referee's standing. That's what you do as an organization.
So just to clarify, the referee that was in there that made that initial call, we watched it and came to the same conclusion.
Correct.
That's right. Along with the commission, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing that I'm kind of wondering about is that word is that Efren missed weight and he wasn't going to get points no matter what anyways. How did that end up panning out? And, you know, I can understand Jason's frustration, but at the end of the day, I guess really both of them get 0 points, right?
That's
correct.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, look, you can't,
sorry, Carlos.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Again, you got to take into consideration that Efren took the fight in 5 days' notice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so he did tell me he was going to make weight. Unfortunately, it's due to missing of 2 flights. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that didn't help his weight cut as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you know, it's one of those things where sometimes you just got to bite down on, you know, and go, you know what?
You guys can't really do anything about it anyway.
Right.
And look, in both cases, look, you got to give, you know, Jason. He took the fight. Efren was, you know, missed weight, but Efren also took the fight on short notice. And so for both fighters, they did what, you know, these fighters in the PFL do. They're athletes. They came out and they took the bout, and that's why we have respect for them.
Looking at some of the positive things from tonight, could you guys speak on Kayla Harrison's performance?
Sure, right.
What happened is what I expected to happen. But like she said so herself, you know, she felt the nerves, she felt the pressure of who she is as a 2-time Olympic champion. although that it was her first time in the cage, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, she's comfortable wearing the gi and she's comfortable being a judo practitioner. But today was kind of a reality check for her, like, oh my God, you know, I'm finally here. So all in all, what happened, what I expected to happen, because I've held pads for her. And I mean, she's a freak of nature, the way she puts combinations together, the way she's, I mean, obviously we didn't get to see that tonight because she went to the safest part of that was her game, her jiu-jitsu. But she actually kicks the pads, I mean, just as hard as Chris Seibel. And I've held pads for both ladies.
Yeah, look, I think she was a little nervous. She was telling me she was a little nervous at the weigh-ins. Right. I think she was probably a little nervous when she went in the cage. I think Brittany was, you know, ready to fight and I think put up a great fight. But then I think once Kayla settled in under the bright lights, and she said it, we've all heard her say it before, she's very comfortable under the bright lights. She got in her element and she showed us what an amazing two-time gold medalist is, you know, built from. And now she begins a great career in MMA.
So now looking forward after seeing her, what does it mean to you guys to have her here with PFL?
Oh, look, I mean, I think I said it, that I thought it was the, you know, most important debut for an MMA fighter that we've seen in a long time. She was 0-0. She's now 1-0. She's going to fight again. She's got to get a few fights. As you know, Brittany was 3-4 before her bout tonight, so she had 7 bouts. Kayla's got to get a couple bouts under her belt. You know, Ray and the team will put those bouts together, and then we'll evaluate what we do with the ladies in 2019 as we get through the PFL 2018 season.
Is the plan to try to put her in maybe one of the fights inside of the tournament format once it gets going, or is there any plans on her taking a fight 6 weeks?
I would probably go, you know, again, it's like Carlos said, you know, it's one of these things where we got to make sure that we take our time with her because, again, you know, we don't want to rush her with anything, so we want to take our time with her and see what happens, and then we'll look at 2019.
Yeah, I'm sure her camp will give us some feedback too on how she feels and where she wants to go next. But I think there's no doubt that you'll see her again in 2018. As you know, we've got fights in the regular season until August 30th. We've got our playoffs in October, and then we've got the championship in December. So there's plenty of opportunities over the next few months for us to find a spot for her to fight.
You guys had a couple doctor stoppages tonight that had weird official times attached to them.
Right.
1 second into the round after they happen. Any other time, that's not a big deal. For these guys that are fighting for points, they're down a point now that they normally would have had in any other circumstance.
Yeah, but
the commission says that's the way they do it. Is that how I understand it?
That's correct. And you know, like Carl said earlier, you know, you got to abide by what the commission rulings are, and whatever that is, that will fall in line with the points that the athlete will get. You know what I mean? So
you won't overrule it?
Say again?
You wouldn't overrule it?
No, I probably wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't want to overrule the commission because, again, you know, you're working with the commission for the season to happen. You know what I mean? So whatever they're ruling, and again, this is going to be different in a different state. You know what I mean? It might not be the same in Las Vegas or New York and whatnot. You know what I mean? So again, wherever we go, we just got to abide by the commission ruling.
Did they give any examples of other times that they've done that? I mean, I've gone back and found one not very recently, but in 2012 in the UFC when they scored it normal 5 minutes at the end of the round. Obviously, you can't go back and find everything from every event from an XFO event or other minor events, but I'm just wondering if. But
you know, when I look back on it, I mean, like at first I was kind of like, you know, the guy didn't come out for the third. I mean, the fight was stopped after the second round. But really, when you think about it, the guy didn't come off his stool when the third round. Let's say the third round was the round that got stopped. He didn't make the bow, so that's the reason why the ruling is the ruling.
But that's not like that in any other commission that I've ever seen.
Well, again,
probably that you've ever seen either. It's always 5 minutes of the round.
Right. Again, you know, you just got to go with
look, we asked because we had the same questions that you guys had. So we do what Ray and I always do. We talk to the commission. We talk to the referees. They came down with their ruling, and the ruling's a ruling. So the points fall where they fall based on those rulings.
You got 4 divisions that have finalized their first rounds. When can we expect to see the matchups for the divisions that have already been completed?
Hopefully next week.
Yeah, so we've got, as you know, we're going to be in Washington, D.C. 2 weeks from tonight, and that'll finish the first round of the regular season. All the fighters will fight twice during the regular season. Ray and the team are going to get the matchups for the July 19th fight, which would be the 45s and the heavyweights again. And if depending on where all those things go, you'll likely see all those fights happen on July 19th. There could be some fights that get pushed by a week or two, depending on some commission rulings.
Now, obviously, with the Sean Jordan mishap, how's that play into going into the second round? Do you guys have alternates, or how's that really work when something like that
Yeah,
happens?
we do have alternates, but Sean Jordan obviously didn't earn any points for not being able to fight in New York.
Yeah.
So he'll go into his second fight for the regular season as 0-0 in terms of the points.
Same thing with his opponent.
Correct. Right.
That's right. Now, but Sean, look, Sean gets a win. Sean gets a first round or second round knockout or submission, and he got 5 or 6 points. He still has a chance to make the playoffs. Again, top 8 make the playoffs based on points. And so, we'll just have to see. It'll be exciting if 4, 5, 6 points is enough to make the playoffs in the heavyweight division.
When you bring in guys like Efrain Escudero, guys like Ryan Foster, guys that people written off, and they come out and they deliver tonight, like how gratifying is that for you to see them come out, perform the way they do when other people write them off and you back them up?
Well, yeah, it goes back to what Carlos was saying earlier, and this format, and I've said this format works. I'm a product of this format. We see it in baseball, we see it in basketball, we see it in football. It works, right? And then when you got guys like Efrain Escudero that's willing to step in and replace somebody, so that guy, and he walked away with a win tonight, so he'll earn his points. And again, like Carl says, it just depends on where the point system lays. But he could possibly be in the playoffs in the top 8 guys. So we'll see.
Yeah, great fight.
Yeah, great fight for Sean. But just back to that point, just to finish something. I mean, again, we've said it. Ray's a product of this kind of a system. If you win, you control where you go next. And I think all of these fighters, as they step in now, in the case of the 55s and the 205s tonight, they've got their first fight under their belt. Some of them have got wins. They know their points. Even the guys that have losses, they know if they come back in a few weeks' time, they can still control where they go by getting a win. It's up to them. And that's their opportunity to make it into the playoffs and then ultimately win a championship if they keep winning.
Again, we've said this from the beginning. The fighters' destiny is in their hands. They win, they move on. They lose, they go home. And then try again for the, with the playoffs, you could be a lucky loser and make the playoffs. You never know. You know what I mean? So, but again, the fighters controls their destiny.
Do you guys have all the venues set out already, all the way through the tournament, or are there still available slots?
Yeah, so we got all the locations for the regular season. We're in D.C. on July 5th, the 4th of July weekend, in the greatest city to be celebrating the 4th of July on July 5th. And then we're going to be in Long Island at Nassau Coliseum for 2 dates in the regular season, and then the last 2 dates on August 16th and 30th.
Right.
We'll be down at Ocean Resort down in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
We haven't announced the playoff locations yet, but in the next 2 weeks we'll be announcing the playoff locations. A number of different cities and commissions that are excited to be working with us on the playoff night, which I think is going to be the most exciting night. And then we'll be back in New York City for the championship night on December 31st back at Madison Square Garden at the Hulu Theater.